It's all right. I was going to go into a sad story about the Eels, but nah, we'll save that for Pete. Talking of sad stories, we'll move on to our own. Let's head over to Amy Park for the Storm suffering first half against the Warriors. I'll come to the Warriors boys first. Your first half impressions, your breakdown of that first half, what went wrong there. Come to you first, Bobby.
So I spoke last week when we were talking about what we're looking forward to this game, and I spoke about how we needed to not have a slow-ass start, or at least match the Storm.
Don't let them get ahead.
They always bring where they have these super quick starts and teams just get tripped up from the get-go, and that kind of didn't happen. Credit to the Storm. They're a really, really good side. When you get them coming off 48 points the week before, that's always going to be a tough ask to try and, peg them back a bit because they're already
mood, yeah.
Walking in the clouds, that team. I thought when we were 12-0 down, it still felt like a bit of a grind. And if you look back on the replay, you'll see that old Xavier Coates was offside. He was offside from the kick. I think it was a Munster kick. Or Jerome Hughes. He kicks it. Munster's like half a metre in front of him. But they don't go back that far to check. He gets the ball, passes it off to Sean Bloor, and Bloor scores, and they go up 18-0. And I'm thinking, oh, thick, surely. But then, a team like the Storm, they don't need any more favours. They don't need penalties. They don't need one-eyed referees. They can win games off the back of the talent of that squad. And would they have changed the outcome of the game? Probably not, because, we gave away some stupid penalties, sin binning. James Harris goes off with his injury. And then it was just all downhill from there. I remember at the press conference, Rich Barnett talks about how the young guys had to come out and sort of show the old fellas how to tackle and their intensity when they came on, because they're young, they're always keen, they show that enthusiasm. And it's like, well, man, you guys need as the incumbents who start the games, you just need to have that intensity too. You kind of see it a lot with a lot of first-grade players where they go into these games, and very rarely in the good teams, like the Storm, like the Panthers before the season, they always come with that high intensity from kickoff. And it's like high intensity, really low mistake football. It was like they were clinical, Melbourne Storm, and the Warriors were super off. Credit to the boys because, they came back in that second half and they were able to outscore the Storm. But, the damage was already done by then, even though the Storm were super keen to try and crack that 50. We were able to hold them out. But, I mean, lots of learnings to take into the next game. Hopefully we sussa the Broncos for the next scuttle. Take it out on the Bronx.
Thanks.
Yeah, I agree with everything Bob said. But this game here, man, this is why I didn't really want to come on the podcast this week. But you're right, Tuds, man, 36-0 at halftime. 36-0 at halftime. And you're thinking, mate, the Storm, they could have put 60 on us. But there's this old adage which I brought up on the podcast before, that no team has conceded 50 during the regular season and won the premiership. So to keep it to 42 means we're still technically,
still in the hunt,
mathematically.
Exactly. These are the stats. These are the stats we need.
Still in with a chance. And given that halftime score, so you're trying to find something positive. They didn't. They should have got blown away 36-0. But not much to take out of it. I will say that at the start of the season, Tohu Harris, he retired, and I'm thinking, man, that's a huge loss, and that's a huge loss. But I really like what Aaron Clark, brought in. He in a team that was well beaten. I thought he was probably our best player. We talk a lot about the closeness of the competition, the closeness of the NRL, but there's still levels to this, man. And the Storm, in my opinion, even though they're second, I think they're the best team in the comp. And the Warriors, they're back in that log jam of all those teams that are fighting it out to try to get in that top 8. And I thought that would really show the levels of that there are to this. The Storm are, premiership favourites, and we're in that log jam of teams trying to get in the top 8. So I thought the scoreline showed that.
Yeah, very much so. Like just that start was so disappointing. But the boys like Mitch Barnett, like you said, like Bunty and Dimitri made a real good impact off the bench. Just some of Bunty's runs, just seeing him lead, like good to see the bro back in the team, coming off the bench. And being able to do that for them, before Bunty used to be, like just a bit of an impact player and prone to some little errors. But man, just seeing him step up, just makes it look better for the rotation. So I don't know if he's going to get the start this week, but just to see, that we have that depth coming off the bench as well. So again, like you said, Stace, there are levels. So I guess, those first 4 games, we dropped one, had a bye, picked up 3 games. So if you look at the next 4 set, we've got a couple teams in that same kind of position, around the 8. But yeah, very much the ones that are probably key for us this 4 is Melbourne and Broncos. They probably sit in that same space. So I think the guys will be aiming up for this Broncos game. Like this is going to be a real important one, especially where the Broncos are. It's an opportunity for us to have a good shot. But yeah, I think they still kind of in terms of those levels of where the different teams are. Yeah, but we'll come to that review. Sai, your take on the boys? Anything else, man?
So you guys are going a bit easy on the Warriors here, bro. I know they were a bit of a Storm were on fire, but bro, you guys Warriors played fire, man. And Bobby touched on it last week that they needed a good start. The Warriors needed a good start to get into the game. Bro, it was handed to them on a plate. I think was it Munster that
I don't know how that first set came to an end. What was that? I thought I made notes.
Right, so Munster on kickoff, he misses the kickoff, bounces back to the Warriors. Warriors get the ball, and then that set during that set,
it was a mistake.
Gives away a penalty.
Yeah,
get another set, and then Metcalf makes one error, and then boom, line break. Jack Howarth, Xavier Coates. After 2 minutes. And when it wasn't so much the time they scored it, but just the ease of their first try. I could feel it. And then the whole first half, man, the Warriors just could not control the ruck, bro. Like every single one like made meters, but it was
broken line. Yeah.
Quick ball, man. And they were just scoring easy tries, bro. And you guys want to say, I played better in the second half. Come on, let's be real. They put the Q in the rack. Hughes went off. They were done. If they wanted to, they could have put 70. It would have been another 70. And let's be honest, the score really favored you guys, if you can call it that. But in saying that, I think the positives, just in general, not this game. There's not too many positives coming out of this game, but the positives are the Warriors is the young bucks, man. Dimitri, Halasima is pushing for a start.
Man. I think he gets a start this week. Yeah, he got the call up.
Yeah, but we just Bobby touched on the Eels pack. I think there's a little bit of a touch of a similarity with guys like, and I don't want to say it, Barnett. Fuck, he was MIA, bro. He could do nothing to stop the Storm pack. And let's not forget, this is a Storm pack missing Big Nelson, bro. Capewell, I love Capewell, but he was going backwards all game, bro. Same as Neil Corday, man. They just couldn't match it with the speed of Melbourne Storm, bro. Harry Grant was just playing touch footy in that first half, man. Tuapiki, I love these small fellas, bro, that they can do, he's a different wing. But up against Coates was having a field day in the air, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. I just don't think, one, they didn't muscle up, but two, I think the coach got to take a bit of heat from this Warriors, they're like win loss kind of thing, bro. They need to fire up a bit more, man. And I know Storm are best team of the comp, but not. I don't think they're 40 points better than the Warriors are. The big out was when Fish went off, because he's a lot to do with firing up that pack, man, and that's what you got to do with this. We got to match them up front. If you allow guys like Harry Grant to start running with no markers around him, game over, man. And Hughes, Pappenhausen, Munster, they'll do that to any team. But yeah, bro.
You make a good point about that defensive line, like what Fish was doing. Like, he brings up that line, or at least pulls in a play just to break that momentum. Because that's, I think that was the biggest thing, that just that speed of the ruck. But yeah, in the middle of the field, like, we were clueless in defense. Like, our defensive patterns were all over the show. Like, on the line, we're fine. Like, you get us down to our line, the guys are able to organize. But yeah, midfield, that's where we were getting torn apart. Like, just plays in the middle of the field, the guys were all over the place. I don't know if that's just out of a few changes from injuries, but yeah, I don't know. Like Mitch said, maybe it was just poor, like missing that first up, just putting the line out. And I think what they also brought to the game, they exposed very much what the Raiders did in game one, the offloads. We were getting killed by Stefano with his offloads, and Anderson as well. And so just those little offloads out the back, just disrupting our line. That's exactly what happened against the Raiders. So I think it'll come back to that intent in contact, is shutting the ball down, because I think the Broncos got it done to them a little bit as well. So just the offloads in terms of defense, just some of the teams, kind of being able to adjust to the offloads. I think that's how the Raiders killed the Sharks as well. So, I mean, the Eels. So, yeah, I think it's something that we need to be conscious of, just into those defensive patterns. So, yeah, stuff to work on. Again, round 6, so relax.